Hi, this is Vijay again with Vinaver. So we also find here that the author has his own opinions on Mallory's romances. Now look at this diagramming. There are different points of view in the discussion. Vinaver has a theory on Mallory's romances. The author is discussing Vinaver's theory. Other critics have also responded to Vinaver's theory that the author quotes here. The author himself has his own understanding on Mallory's romances, as we have understood from the last 3 lines. Now this is overall the passage. At the end of the reading, we understand that the author of the passage is evaluating Vinaver's theory. So I think we are now ready for the first question. Look at the first question. It says that the primary purpose of the passage is to do what? Is the author just discussing the theory, or he goes about and judges the theory? He goes about and judges the theory. So we can say that it is to evaluate. That's a word I think appropriate for the context. Evaluate Vinaver's theory. This is what is his thing, because he says there are some good points. He objects to certain implications of his theory. So overall it is evaluating Vinaver's theory. That is his main objective here. The second question is, it can be inferred from the passage that about Mallory's work that the author believes what about Mallory's work. Now I think the last few statements in the passage are very important, because whatever he rejects about Vinaver's theory arises from the author's his own understanding of Mallory's romances. When he rejects Vinaver's theory, that the theory's position that the romances may be taken in any or no particular order, which means the author believes that they cannot be taken in any particular order. Alright? He rejects that there is no cumulative effect, which means he believes that there is a cumulative effect. Put the double negative into positive. He rejects that they are as separate as the works of any modern novelist, which means he accepts that they are not as independent as the works of a modern novelist. So overall we can say here that it can be inferred from the passage that the author believes about Mallory's works that there are meaningful links. There are meaningful links and the progression among the novels. I think you agree with me on that, right? Among the novels, among the romances. Okay? So we understand from here that the author believes that there is a cumulative effect and that they have a certain order. You can't take it in any other order, because he believes that it's still one work. The author of the passage concedes, accepts about Vinaver's theory. We have seen a couple of points of acceptance. One is that he says he comfortably explained away the contradictions of chronology, and then he says that there are legitimate observations in the theory. So the author accepts that there are certain good observations, valid observations in the theory. So he is not completely criticism. There are points that he agrees with the reviewer here, that is Vinaver. It can be inferred from the passage that in evaluating Vinaver's theory, some critics were. Now look at the point of a discussion in the passage when he talks about some other critics. Now let us come to the point of discussion of other critics. He says it was, however, disagreeable to find that what had been thought of as one book was now 8 books. Part of this responses was natural reaction to the disturbance of set ideas. Now that is what was the other critics' response. They disagreed with him because that was a natural reaction to disturbance of set ideas. So the other critics, if you were to look at the question, the fourth question, it says the other critics were influenced by previous interpretations. Influenced by earlier beliefs or previous interpretations. Because I think you observed that line that I just read. It says natural reaction to set ideas. Alright. So that is the point of discussion in the passage, where the author is referring to some other critics' response to Wiener's theory. Okay, in hindsight, in sum, you must understand that when it comes to reading comprehension in the GMAT, you have to analyze the passage. The passage can be as short as this or even longer than this, running into 3-4 paragraphs. You need to understand the different points of view in the passage. We have an author who writes a passage who discusses about Wiener's theory. Wiener's theory is about Mallory's 8 romances or the novel. Critics were earlier thinking, or everyone believed, that these are all one volume. But now Wiener said no, they are independent books. Critics opposed Wiener. The author gives his judgment. He says there are certain valid points in his theory, but we cannot fully agree with his theory of independence, which means the author believes that there is a cumulative effect within the novels. There are some meaningful links, and they are not as separate as the works of any modern novelist. So we cannot fully agree with Wiener, is the judgment that our speaker gives. Go into a critical reading, practice such 3 passages per day, and you would see that your confidence in the reading comprehension would simply go up. Build also on your vocabulary to be able to understand and appreciate passages better. When you practice on those passages, you can use official guide passages or any good quality material that you can get in the book form or from the internet. But just ensure that you get passages which look similar to what is in the official guide. And you can also see the type of quality of passages. If it matches official guide standard, you can use them. If you are trying for a higher level of reading in terms of practice on the GMAT passages, one of the sources I would recommend is the Times Literary Supplement. Now search for it in the internet. You will get back volumes of the supplement. It is high-end literature, European, American literature, wherein history, writing, philosophy, a lot of write-ups, essays and stories. Excellent read, but I would warn you, if you are not very comfortable with those tough passages, do a lot of reading initially and then you can graduate slowly to Times Literary Supplement, or they call it TLS. Till then it would be a bit of a preparation towards that by reading average and just about average difficulty passages. With that, I think you will be much more oriented towards GMAT reading comprehension. Okay, I think I did a quick reading of the passage and a discussion of that. You may have to go back and read that passage and see how you would interpret it yourself. Do practice. I'm sure reading comprehension is not as tough as people think those passages ought to be. Thank you for listening.